It is 8:03. Apologies for being a couple of minutes late this morning, but here we are. I'm doing the TV thing, I'm doing the social media thing. We're just trying to do the things on a Friday. Rise and shine. Good morning to you. I'm meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully getting your day started off on the right note. Gotta tell you, it is beautiful outside. There's a live look at our Tower Cam network over at Port Canaveral where the sun is shining and it is looking good. But there have been a few showers moving on through. So, of course, we need to get right over to our first warning live Doppler radar. And we'll zoom in here, just kind of give you an idea of where those showers are currently. Canaveral National Seashore, North Brevard, trying to work over toward like Wedgefield or so. Even a sprinkle trying to pop up here around Cocoa right over I-95 there. Megan's not tracking any massive issues on the roads there, thankfully, but it kind of is what it is. So here we are. Temperatures lower 70s in Ocala, mid to upper 70s in Orlando. Temperatures are going to be working their way up to about 90 degrees today. And we're building to a 40-50% coverage of showers and thunder showers. So keep all of that in mind. It's not going to be a super active day, but we are going to be dealing with more rains in the forecast than what we had yesterday. And as a matter of fact, the rain chances are going to be going up even more looking ahead to this weekend. Let's take a look at Central Florida's certified most accurate 7 day forecast. Today, 50% coverage of rain, more activity for our Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and getting even stormier yet for our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, that said, the big story, and I know everybody's talking about it, is going to be the tropics, and we're going to get to that right now. First off, this is Invest 91 out in the middle of the Atlantic. It is way out there. And I got to tell you, it's really not showing impressive convection on the satellite presentation. Looking at the overall setup here, still a high likelihood of development, 60% over the next 2 days' time, 90% over the next 7 days' time. So we do think that this is probably going to try to get going. But not all the computer models are showing that, right? So let's get right over to some raw computer model data. This is the raw GFS, and let's just roll through time here, okay? First and foremost, this is a look at the overall setup looking ahead to this is Thursday morning. So September 11th, and you see it there, bottom right corner, sneaking into the Caribbean islands out near the Virgin Islands, curving north of Puerto Rico, and then working away, and then another area of low pressure trying to develop, and then another area of low pressure trying to develop, right? So to that point, good news on the GFS. It's getting the heck out of Dodge. Let's go back and let's pull up the European model. And I just want to go to the full basin view. All right. European, not developing it. Like not at all developing it. Okay? That's important to note. That is a shift. If we go back to yesterday, watch how the Euro developed it, brought it to hurricane status almost, kind of weakened it, into the Caribbean, and then it just became like this sloppy low. So it really is a model to model depending sort of situation. And one of the most important tools that we have in our tool chest, most important tools in the tool chest is our ensembling. So let's come over and let's look at the GFS ensembles and kind of get an idea. Let me just go way back. Let's go to the basin view here. Okay, because deterministic single run of single models, it only gives you a little bit of information, but the ensembles really dial in deep. So watch the GFS ensembles trying to bring something together in the Caribbean. But what's interesting is while the GFS ensembles are trying to bring something together in the Caribbean, look over toward the Gulf. You're starting to see more ensemble members picking up on something in the Gulf. The deterministic model doesn't show that, right? So you've got this broader scope when you look at the ensembles to really dial into things. And there's some sort of something there that the deterministic model is not showing. Okay, there's something to watch there. Let's go over to the European ensembles. All right, let me go back out to the wide basin view. Some of the ensembles are trying to develop what could become Gabrielle out in the open Atlantic, right? into the closer shot, and you kind of see it recurving. Most everything is keeping it out away from us. But at the very end, there's another thing out east of us, and there's another thing in the Gulf. So, what we're seeing here, and I think that this is an important moniker to address, what we're seeing is a whole lot of differences from model to model, from run to run. And when it comes to the tropics, consistency breeds confidence. We have literally no consistency whatsoever. So, to that point, the confidence in where this thing could go is very low. I've seen a lot of people saying, well, the weather guy said it's coming here. The weather girl said it's coming here. Well, no, I have not said that it's coming here. I don't know what other people are saying, but at this point in time, if I lived in the Caribbean islands, the Leeward, Windward Islands, St. Croix, through to about Puerto Rico, I'd be watching this closely. The Southeast United States, let's watch it. But in terms of like concern, we're not there. Not at all. You have to remember the peak of hurricane season. The peak of hurricane season is September 10th. So you'd have to expect that at the peak of hurricane season, we're going to have something to track. But to actually have a threat for Florida, it's far too early to tell. Um, and that's the good news. And it's important to note that. But again, look at just the two different global models, right? On the right, you've got the American GFS trying to develop something small, but something small geographically, whereas the European has a whole lot of nada, right? So to that point, the models aren't even convinced together that something is going to form here. So yeah, Debbie says we're almost at the peak, not the end. Oh, absolutely. I will say though, weaker goes west. So when you think about tropical stuff, it's not often that we want to encourage something to get its act together. But remember that given the steering here, a weaker storm would trend more and more west. A stronger storm would get picked up by the Coriolis force and recurve. So to that point, um, yeah, we if it were to rapidly develop right now, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But here we are. I digress. So here's the intensity models on Invest 91. There's a definitive idea that this thing is going to form. Just about all the models are at least trying to do that. More so into a tropical storm Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There are a couple of models that are trying to go a little quicker with intensification, and even one model that's bringing it right up to a major hurricane. So there's at least a subtle note of rapid intensification, but that's not kind of the overall idea here. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but the concern is not great for that, okay? Meanwhile, back here at home, we're watching overall patterns shifting to a higher coverage of showers and storms, which means if you're heading out to the UCF game tomorrow, North Carolina A&T is going to be in town. We're watching that radar closely for showers and storms kind of fading off in that time frame, all right? All right. Fairly quick coffee talk this morning just because I've got a ton of graphics I'm working on. I'm doing sunrise, so forgive me, but I did want to address the tropics and get you taken care of. I'll post a little quick reel later on today with the newer model data, but for now, that's where we're at. Just tracking those afternoon showers and thunder showers. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for coffee talk.